Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
The star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
She was, as woke as they are.
She just sounds bitter and angry.
I don't think they're going to buy it. I don't think they're going to watch it. I don't think they're going to...
Every time she speaks, she gets less like...
This truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry.
Rachel Zegler, she's an...
You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White, right? You should shut...
Spend 1 minute on Snow White and how it totally imploded at the box office this weekend.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings. I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
They spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
And, you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea.
For Disney. Number one, stop cannibalizing all your old IP. Like, it's really bad. It's really bad business. Number two, please stop changing all of the historic plots, which actually have meaning to generations of people, to instead become generic woke story about how woman leads revolutionary uprising and she don't need no man.
What happens when a rising Hollywood actress steps into a fairy tale role, but ends up causing more drama than magic? That's exactly what went down with Disney's live-action Snow White remake. What was supposed to be a billion-dollar blockbuster quickly turned into a public relations nightmare. And at the heart of it all was Rachel Zegler. Disney had high hopes for this movie. With a massive budget, one of their most iconic stories, and years of animated legacy behind it, they expected Snow White to be their next big hit. But instead of applause and excitement, the project became a lightning rod for controversy. And let's be real, most of that heat centered around Zegler, the film's leading lady. From the start, things felt off. Rather than embracing the classic tale and showing love for the original animated film that generations grew up with, Zegler took a very different approach. In interview after interview, she criticized the 1937 version, calling it outdated and suggesting that Snow White was not a character girls should aspire.
And to constantly say things that are just atrocious because they're looking for attention and they can never have enough of it. They can never have enough of it.
To be. She made it clear she didn't see herself as just playing a role. She wanted to completely rewrite the narrative. That attitude didn't sit well with fans. Many people were shocked that someone starring in such an iconic remake seemed so dismissive of the original material. One viral post put it bluntly, "Snow White is supposed to be pale as snow." That one line sparked an internet firestorm and opened the floodgates to debates about casting, political correctness, and whether Disney was going too far in trying to modernize its classics. To be fair, Rachel Zegler is undeniably talented. She gained attention for her powerful singing voice and earned praise for her performance in West Side Story, even winning a Golden Globe. Disney likely thought she was a perfect fit, fresh, young, and capable of bringing something new to the screen. But talent wasn't the issue here. The real problem was her attitude and how she handled the spotlight. Rather than connecting with fans, Zegler's comments made her come off as arrogant and ungrateful. In one interview, she openly said she wouldn't be watching the original, Snow White again, calling the prince a stalker and joking that Snow White was basically just waiting around for a man. While it's totally fine to bring
fans accusing Disney of inserting unnecessary feminism into classic fairy tales.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
A modern perspective to a classic tale, the way she said it rubbed people the wrong way. It wasn't just fans of the original film who were upset. Even casual moviegoers and longtime Disney lovers started questioning the entire project. People began to wonder, why remake a film if you're just going to bash the story and characters that made it beloved in the first place? And let's not forget, timing played a role too. At a time when audiences are already feeling burnt out by constant remakes and reboots, this movie felt like another unnecessary attempt to repackage something classic into something edgy. But rather than creating buzz in a good way, it stirred up backlash before a single ticket was sold. The controversy wasn't just online either. The public reaction was so intense that it started affecting the movie's reputation long before it hit theaters. Critics began speculating whether Disney would delay the release, change the marketing strategy, or even consider reshoots. And behind the scenes, it's safe to assume the studio wasn't thrilled that their leading actor...
These big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous. How dare you want to meet a handsome prince and be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after? No, you should want to be the prince. You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword.
It's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
They have been making this film for a very long time because it's just been so scandalized. It's been, and so they had to basically put it on ice after people were firstly outraged by Rachel Zegler speaking ill about the prior film, the film that she was remaking. And it's such a weird thing for their whole pitch as feminists to be is like the best thing you can strive to be as a man. Everything will be great once we just act exactly like men. There's nothing special about being a woman. Let's just be men. It just doesn't feel like we're winning.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
I'm sure a lot of people will assume it's a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yep. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Who the hell are you to say all of Andrew's scenes could get cut? Like, who are you?
Oh my God.
Are you Disney? I've read your book, and I have. It's a phenomenal book. You're losing generation of loyal viewers. When you think about Snow White, what is the premise? What is the story?
It's a love story. It's a love story.
It's a dream for a girl to grow up and a man falls in love.
I'm really upset that the biggest theme here is that it's anti-men. She called him a stalker.
Was becoming the story, just not in the way they had hoped. Even after the dust started to settle, Zegler didn't back down. She doubled down on her opinions, continuing to speak about how she wanted Snow White to be a leader and not just a pretty girl waiting for love. Again, nothing wrong with updating a character, but instead of uplifting a new version while respecting the old, it felt like she was tearing the past down just to make space for herself. To be clear, this isn't just about one actress or one movie. What happened with Snow White is part of a larger conversation about Hollywood, fan expectations, and the delicate balance between progress and tradition. Viewers today want more meaningful stories and stronger characters, but they also don't want to feel like the things they loved growing up are being erased or disrespected. Disney's live-action remakes have always walked a fine line. Some have done well, like Beauty and the Beast and The Jungle Book, because they honored what came before while adding a fresh touch. But Snow White, thanks in large part to Zegler's comments, felt like it was aiming to rewrite the past instead of build upon it. Now, with the movie struggling before it even opens, the studio has some serious damage control to do. Can the film recover? Maybe, but it's clear that public trust in the project has taken a hit, and it all started with an actress who underestimated how deeply people care about their childhood stories. In the end, Rachel Zegler might still be a star in the making, but in trying to modernize a fairy tale, she forgot one key rule. Before you can reinvent a legacy, you have to respect it first. Just like that, the fairy tale ended before it even had a chance.
Then they got even crazier and they decided that the dwarves in Snow White weren't woke enough, okay?
These are roles made for actors of my stature. I can't go out for the Harrison Ford or the George Clooney roles because that's not for me.
Right.
And now it's taken away. I don't feel that's right.
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive. But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards. And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, okay, we're going to add magical creatures.
To begin. Instead of bringing that classic Disney charm, Rachel Zegler stirred up controversy. People were expecting someone graceful and respectful of the story's roots. But what? They felt more like a lecture than a fairy tale revival. From the very start, there were warning signs. It wasn't just that she accepted the role of Snow White. She seemed to disrespect the story that so many people loved. By 2022, the movie was already having issues behind the scenes. There were COVID-related delays and even a massive fire on set that caused millions in damage. But while all that was happening, Zegler wasn't helping the situation. She was making it worse. Most actors in her position would have tried to stay positive, promote the film, and avoid making waves. But Zegler chose a different path. Instead of talking about how excited she was to play Snow White or how honored she felt, she criticized the original 1937 film, the very movie that started Disney's legacy. Her comments didn't come across as thoughtful. They sounded dismissive and even arrogant to some fans. Rather than building excitement for the remake, her words sparked outrage. Many longtime Disney fans felt betrayed. They didn't understand why the lead actress in such an iconic film.
What is this process now where it's like in order to be inclusive, you have to completely destroy storylines, completely destroy franchises? I don't believe in that. I don't think that consumers believe in that either.
Seem to have so little respect for the original story. What could have been a magical moment for Disney turned into a mess because instead of celebrating a beloved classic, it felt like Zegler was trying to tear it down. And in doing so, the magic of Snow White was lost before the new version even had a chance to shine. Rachel Zegler didn't hold back when she criticized the original Snow White movie. She called the story anti-men and even said the prince seemed like a stalker. Yep, she actually said that. Fans weren't just annoyed, they were furious. Social. Media blew up with comments like, "Who does she think she is trashing a childhood favorite?" But instead of apologizing or softening her stance, she kept going. In interviews, she proudly said this new version wouldn't include a love story at all. It was all about female independence. While some people appreciated the idea, most longtime Disney fans felt let down. They didn't want a heavy message. They just wanted the classic fairy tale charm. To them, she sounded smug, like she was too good for the role that made her famous.
Peter Dinklage, you're rich. We're not. We're trying to be extras, or, we're in Johnny Knoxville's Jackass if we're lucky. And so for them, they're like, you're not going to cast us to be inclusive and progressive, but these guys at Disney, they're not that bright, they're not that smart, and we see that because they can't come up with any new IP.
Then came even more controversy. Actor Peter Dinklage called out Disney for still using dwarfs in the film, saying it was outdated. Disney panicked and quickly replaced the original 7 dwarfs with CGI magical creatures. Zegler couldn't resist jumping into that too, acting like she helped fix everything. Meanwhile, real dwarf actors were upset. They felt robbed of an opportunity. One viral comment said it best: "She's acting like a hero while we're out of jobs." People online didn't hold back. They instantly made fun of the movie. Memes popped up everywhere, and they were harsh. Meanwhile, actors were speaking out too, calling it a huge disappointment. They felt like a real opportunity for diversity had been taken away, all for the sake of pretending to be progressive. And where was Rachel Zegler in all of this? Walking around like she was Hollywood's next big game changer. Her attitude didn't help. Instead of showing respect for the story, she acted like she was above it all. It wasn't empowerment, it was a mess. Behind the scenes, things were already falling apart. The production was hit with delays, costly reshoots, and money problems. Then the controversy over the dwarfs made it even worse.
You are not entitled to call for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, you are actually not entitled to do that. And so let me just remind you, Rachel Zegler, of what the map looks like, just so you can understand when your Disney movie is coming out, how many people you are wishing harm upon. Like, this is America right now.
But Rachel didn't stop there. In another interview, she seemed to dismiss the whole idea of romance and fairy tales, saying Snow White wouldn't be saved by a man and wouldn't dream of true love. She meant it to sound empowering, but fans were tired of hearing it. They didn't want lectures. They just wanted the magic of Disney. By then, even casual fans were walking away. Online outrage, boycott talk, and parody videos spread fast. And through it all, Zegler kept talking, like none of it mattered. People expected this Snow White remake to bring generations together and celebrate a classic story. But every time Rachel Zegler spoke, it felt like she was insulting what made the original special. Instead of bringing people together, her words pushed them apart. What should have been a magical Disney comeback quickly turned into a full-blown public relations disaster, and it just kept getting worse. Rachel had the perfect opportunity to calm things down and focus on the film. But by 2024, as the movie slowly crawled toward its postponed release date in March 2025, she just couldn't stay quiet. Instead of laying low, she jumped into more drama right
I will love you through these 4 years as best I can. F Donald Trump. Yeah, totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace.
After the US election, she went on Instagram and posted a moody photo holding what looked like burnt coffee with a caption aimed directly at Trump supporters. May you never know, peace. It came off bitter and angry, like she was trying to stir the pot instead of promote peace. The attitude was loud, smug, and full of unnecessary heat. The backlash was immediate. Conservative commentator Megyn Kelly exploded on air, calling Rachel a rude little punk and demanding Disney fire her. That clip blew up online and reached millions within hours. Suddenly, the calls to boycott the movie were everywhere. People on X, formerly Twitter, were swearing off the film completely. Not a single dollar from me, one person wrote. I'll just rewatch the original cartoon. This ain't it. So how did Rachel react? Classic damage control. She put out a teary video trying to look regretful. Her excuse? I got emotional. But for many people, it was too little, too late. The trust was broken, and fans felt like their favorite fairy tale had been turned into a drama-filled mess.
They postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could f off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one. Said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince, and that she falls in love as opposed.
That was the final straw. Rachel Zegler's so-called apology felt empty, like she was just trying to save face, not actually sorry. There was no real responsibility, no honesty. People weren't fooled. Her emotional video didn't soften anything, it actually made things worse. The apology fell flat, just like the movie trailer. Fans and critics alike saw right through it. By the time 2025 rolled in, Disney's Snow White reboot had become a total disaster. It wasn't just struggling, it was crashing and burning before it even hit theaters. Behind the scenes, the drama kept piling up. Crew members began talking anonymously, and what they said didn't make Zegler look good. One crew member revealed the set was uncomfortable almost every day. She acted like she was better than everyone, they shared. Wouldn't listen to direction, always glued to her phone and constantly complaining.
As you just can't close your mouth. You just can't be sane, even when you do open your mouth. I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film, but rather she deserves to be in a padded cell.
You want to trash that legacy? That company that now Disney has screwed up the last 5 years trying to please a small percentage of minorities in America? Yeah, we're sick of it. So the more you do this, Disney, Iger, Rachel Zegler, whatever her name is, yes, this is exactly the backlash you're going to get from parents who have kids who are your customers. You're supposed to win parents over. You're talking to kids, the parents pay for the tickets. You have to be a dummy as a marketer to be saying, if I'm Bob Iger, you know what we're doing? Emergency meeting. We're putting Snow White on hold for 2 years, and guess what? Pay her a couple $1,000,000, go away. We're gonna bring another person to play this role.
Another insider said Disney wasn't reshooting scenes because of technical issues. It was to try and fix her lackluster performance. That's tough. Meanwhile, Disney executives were freaking out. Merch sales were dead. Test screenings were getting horrible reactions, and even parents were pulling back. Many said they didn't want their kids exposed to so much drama. One mother summed it up perfectly. We just want a fun, magical film, not some Hollywood lecture for our children. That comment went viral, and many others agreed. What was supposed to be
all these studios have to stop letting their actors loose. I mean, honestly, just shut your actors.
Joyful return of a beloved story had turned into a headache for everyone involved. Disney's dreams of reviving a classic were slipping through their fingers, and Rachel Zegler's behavior wasn't helping. The more she talked, the more fans tuned out. What could have been a hit became one of the most chaotic rollouts in Disney's recent history. To make things even worse, some behind-the-scenes clips started leaking.
Because guess what? Nobody grew up with that crap, and nobody's all that interested in it. It's very good for people to learn that women need men, and also that men need women. I don't know why this fell out of fashion, and we're not allowed to just say that sort of stuff anymore, but it actually happens to be the...
And they didn't help. The movie looked dull, almost like it had been filtered through a cheap TikTok effect. Fans online couldn't stop laughing at how bad the visual effects looked. The dialogue? It sounded like it was taken from random online posts. not something from a beloved Disney film. The whole vibe felt off, like it wasn't even trying to be a fairy tale anymore. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler didn't seem to care. While everything was falling apart, she kept posting moody photos.
It was essentially a box office dud. The regime that decided that wokeness needed to be infused in every movie. If they keep going along this path, they're going to go bankrupt.
Photos and mysterious captions saying nothing meaningful about the chaos. It felt like she was in her own bubble, ignoring the backlash completely. What was supposed to be Disney's next major princess blockbuster had turned into one of their biggest messes, and the lead actress acted like none of it mattered. One comment online really summed it up. Her attitude ruined the movie before it even came out. And honestly, a lot of